I really like this over 2.5 minutes of control time. That's a nice pick six one right there. That might be one of my favorite.
Under 34.5 significant strikes, he could win really efficiently.
Round one win.
You know, I think this fight could last. So I like the over in this fight, Dan. I think most people think Vallejos is going to get it done inside the distance. I kind of like the over for pick six. I like one of my favorite pick sixes on the board. And it's, you brought up the reason why, but Zaleski Dos Santos less than 52.5 strikes. There's multiple paths where this happens. First of all, he's kind of low volume anyways, with all the movement and everything he does in the cage. And then you've got Neil Magny, who wants to hold you against the cage and like slow you down. And then you've also got the fact that Neil Magny's been finished early in his last two fights. So any of those things can get us under this number. This is my favorite fight here. I like Rimovic's significant strikes over in pick six. I know 89.5, 3-round fight. It sounds like a lot, but it's kind of more the style of both these guys and the fact that I think they're both super tough. We could see a war here. One of my other favorite pick six, Tatsuro Taira under on significant strikes. There's just so many paths for him to get there. Even in 5 rounds, that's how little this dude likes to throw. He is getting to his grappling, and that's what he wants to do. Yes, sir. The long-awaited intro is done, and we are here, UFC 319, and we're breaking it down on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel and on Twitter, talking all things DraftKings, DFS, betting, a little pick six action here. Hopefully we can get back to the winner circle in the old pick six this week. And I got the man with me here to break it down, Dan, back two-man booth here. Dan, what's going on, man? You ready for this banger of a card?
Yeah, dude, this main event is the best fight that the UFC has put on all year. I'm psyched for it. There's so many unknowns. It's a super compelling matchup. Middleweight, man. Middleweight went from being like kind of a weird, like whatever division, and it's still a weird division, but it's much more compelling now. Got a lot of contenders, and these are the two best. So I can't wait to watch them. I can't wait to watch someone die. As always.
These are definitely the two best. We don't have to worry about that. And it should be an awesome fight here. I'm pumped to talk about it. I'm pumped to talk about this card. This card's going to be great. I'm absolutely excited for it. Shout out to all of our guys, all of our Run Pure guys out in Chicago for the fights tonight. Obviously, JBC not here. He is going to be at the fights. A bunch of the guys, though, Steve Boynton and a bunch of other Run Pure guys out there getting ready to watch live. So have fun to them. And we're going to break it all down, like I said, from a DFS and betting perspective on this show here. We'll break through all the pick six and then finish out with a little full pick six at the end of the show here over on DraftKings. If you guys could hit the like button on the video, if you enjoy these free videos each and every week that we put them out there, smash the like and subscribe to the channel. We are 20 subs, I think, away from 20K subscribers on YouTube. So I don't know if we can get that on this show, but I would like to get it on this show. Definitely. Maybe if we can get it on this show, I'll give away a nice package of gear, a full Run Pure package full of gear to one lucky person in the chat. So hopefully we can get over that 20K mark, on the show. If not, maybe the next show that we do, but hopefully we can get it on this show. I think we can, though. So let's ring that bell, smash that bell, and smash the like button on top of it. Let's get over that 20K mark. We appreciate everyone watching each and every week we do this show. Dan, before we get into just the card in general and break down the fight, each fight, we had a couple fights that are just not on this card anymore. We had some weight misses, egregious, by the way, weight misses. Old Pooh Bear, as I call him, because he's not nicknamed Pooh Bear anymore, but he used to be nicknamed Pooh Bear. And honestly, Dan, when he was nicknamed Pooh Bear, that's when he was legit. This guy, Battle, though, he needs to go. They need to drop the hammer on this guy. They can't let him keep doing this where he's just blatantly missing by 5 pounds. Then he goes up from 170 to 185 and you miss by 4 pounds. I mean, what is this? This is crazy.
He needs a nutritionist or some discipline or something. Whatever he's doing is not working. I think, it seemed pretty intentional. I think he wanted to go in there 5 pounds heavier, not have to do the weight cut.
Definitely.
Which is what he has been doing. I think he's been trying to game the system. I'm glad. It seems like Ruzaboyev's team was like, no, we're not doing this. Fuck you. And good for them, honestly. From what I understand, Ruzaboyev doesn't exactly need the money. So, tough shit for Battle there. I don't know if they'll cut him. It seems like they don't. there isn't a whole lot you can do that will make them want to cut you. But maybe this will be it. Maybe he needs to spend some time away.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if Dana, Mick, and some of the other higher ups in the UFC, if they get completely fed up with you, they will eventually toss you to the side. Now, I don't think they'll cut him either because he is definitely good. But don't forget, Sakayv was like undefeated and they cut his ass. They didn't want anything to do with him. And I know it's a different situation, but you piss them off enough, Dan. And I think, Battle might not be there yet. But man, if he comes into another big card and screws up another fight and misses by like 5 pounds, that could be it. Honestly,
you can get away with a lot of heinous behavior, but if you inconvenience the UFC brass, they know how to hold a grudge too, man. So
100%. And by the way, I saw the comment about Big T, shifting to Big T for a second here, saying you got to buy pretty much a boat to see Big T these days in the streets. You just got to buy a Run Pure Sports membership. We offer weekly, we offer monthly. You can sign up for a single sport package. Any of that gets you in the Discord. You can link your Discord up. You can ask Big T questions in the Discord. He's in the Discord. And I heard rumors that he might jump on this show. This is what he told me. This was specifically what he told me. I talked to him this morning, and he told me it's a very big possibility he could make his debut on the Run Pure Sports MMA show today at some point. So don't kill the messenger. If he does not show up, it is not my fault, but that is what he told me. You can blame him if he doesn't show up, but he seemed pretty pumped about this card. Now, I will say also, Big T does every single sport on the board. So the guy's got MMA, preseason, NASCAR, MLB, you name it, he's doing it. So there's a lot of sports going on today, but he could possibly jump on.
All his MMA stuff is in already. A lot of it's pretty questionable to me. But it's in there.
Shots fired by Dan. Shots absolutely fired. I love that.
Defend yourself, Big T.
Yeah, you big puss. Come defend yourself. Seriously. Dan's just shitting on you right now. He said your core is terrible. He said all your picks are trash. I mean, come on. You got to come. I'm sick of fighting with just Dan every week. Come on so I can fight with you too, okay? Then I have 2 people that I have a chance to fight with for every single fight, Dan. I got good odds that I will fight with at least one of you on almost every fight if there's 3 of us.
Yeah, that's like minus 2,000 right there, at least.
Literally, that's minus 2,000 right there. So, yeah, that's the Big T story. I'm sticking to it, but we will have him on. It is going to be Best Ball Week too, by the way. DraftKings, they're doing Best Ball Week again. It's starting on Monday. If you guys are into Best Ball, they'll be rolling out stuff throughout the week, next week, that you should make sure to stay tuned. Follow them. Follow us on Twitter. We'll be retweeting that stuff. We'll be doing shows every day, Monday through Friday, and we'll be bringing guests on for Best Ball Week, all different types of guests. And yes, Big T will be one of them. I'm not sure which day yet. It'll be like Tuesday or Wednesday, but he will be one day. We got a lot of awesome guests planned for next week. So make sure you guys check that out. Best Ball Week over on DraftKings. And that's another reason why you should subscribe anyways. Hit that bell, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get notified every time we go live for these shows. All right. That's enough of that. I'm ready, Ryan. I'm ready to bring the boom here. I'm ready. Okay. Ryan Cox says, JSU, bring the boom. I'm ready to do it. We appreciate everyone watching. We got our guy K Phallic, Burner in the chat. People already talking. Josh Lee. And then love to see you guys. My boy Dub KJ. Big T got subbed. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. If you call him out enough, he will eventually show up. That's what I know about Big T. So you just got to keep calling him out.
Bullying
Nice,
works,
Kevin.
man.
Nice Kevin says Armenian Hammer. Nice Kevin knows what's up. Nice Kevin knows. Armenian Hammer's coming, baby. He's coming. All right, Dan, let's get into these 12 fights here on the card.
Real quick,
And,
before we get into this card, I just want to shout out Freddie, subscriber, is in the Discord all the time on fight nights. He was in that big chop last week with our guy Miles Johns with I think like a 65 at a loss. So just wanted to shout out Freddie there. Good job, man.
Shout out Freddie. Love that. Love the screenshot winner from Freddie. And hopefully Freddie can run it back, or another member in the Run Pure Sports family running it back with a nice little shipper today. Got some awesome contests over on DraftKings. All right, we start with the first fight on the card, and guaranteed I will butcher this, but Aliba Iduris 9,400 versus Joseph Morales 6,800. A massive favorite. Iduris is here. Damn, what's he, minus 500 right now? Somewhere around there. I mean, talk about these two guys. They both got grappling. Honestly, kind of well-rounded. Iduris is definitely a little more well-rounded, but Morales is solid. You know what I mean? I don't think he's anything like special on the feet, but I think he's good enough on the feet, and he's got good grappling on the ground. So talk about these two guys a little bit and what you think will happen in this fight.
Yeah, Darius, he is well-rounded. He's definitely more well-rounded than Morales. I'd say Morales is kind of more of a one-dimensional grappler. But Darius on the other side, I like that he's aggressive. He pushes a good pace on the feet, throws good volume, mixes in takedowns. So he produces a pretty good amount of offense. His inside the distance line, I think, is sitting at plus 140 right now, which is decent. But at 9,400, he's definitely overshadowed by our guy, Sakayv, Hooper. Asakura's got very similar inside the distance line for cheaper. It's really just hard to prioritize Iduris just from a number standpoint, but he is going to be lower owned than Sakayv and Hooper. He's going to get squeezed by both of them. So I like him as a pivot in the top end just because it's a solid matchup. I don't think this guy Morales really has anything on the feet for him. And then, yeah, on the Morales side, he's 6,800. He's obviously pretty big dog at plus 364 right now. But if he does win, it's going to come either a random submission that he snatches up, or it's going to come with wrestling and grappling from his side. Like, that's what he's going to need to do to win. And that'll obviously score well on DraftKings, regardless of what kind of win it really is for him, because he is 6,800. I don't think it's all that likely, but we're talking really, really low level here. So I'm not going to count him out. I'll probably have more Morales than this other shitter down here, Nolan. Like, I'll probably have twice as much Morales as I do Nolan, but there are a lot of cheap, viable dogs here, and I'm not really finding myself getting to either of these two late edition guys all that much.
Yeah, and a couple of things, chat. I just wanted to bring this up. You were robbed. You like Miles Johns. I like Miles Johns. We were both on the Johns. You gave it out as your favorite bet, though, and we definitely got robbed on that fight. I believe that Miles Johns won. Connor said it too. I definitely think he won. That was an awesome fight, though, which I don't think people were seeing off the bat, which we also called on the show that it would be a better Miles Johns fight. And, man, with that 30 extra points, Dan, he goes from scoring like 65 or whatever to 95. So that definitely mattered. Yeah.
The wrestling was there. It looks like his cardio looked good too. It looked like he was back on the gear, which you love to see.
Love to see it. Yep. But back to this fight here. I did want to point out, K. Alex Burner said Joseph Morales, he was in the UFC. at one point, but it was like 7 years ago. So how much you want to take away from that is up to you. I wouldn't put a ton into it. I will just say two things Dan brought up is Aduris is definitely more like dangerous. He's a little more flashy on the feet. He's definitely, he brings a lot more to the table when it comes to the feet. Whereas Morales is very just like, he's kind of vanilla. He throws straight, a lot of 1s, 1-2s specifically, and they're pretty good. He's pretty fast with them. But, Adaris is more like, he'll do like flying knees and jumping knees and stuff like that. He's a little more wild on the feet. And then they both have really good grappling. So I do think that's interesting, Dan, because I do think we could see a lot of scrambles, grapple exchanges to where, you see, honestly, Morales maybe trying to push it because Adaris might just be a little better than him on the feet. And I do like that the 6,800 dog can grapple as well as the favorite. So like maybe we could get some takedowns or control time. He can reverse positions maybe. So I don't mind it. Morales seems to fight in a lot of close fights too on top of it recently. So maybe we get lucky on like a split decision or something like that, where maybe he drops the first round, but maybe, the last round in, a half or something like that, he kind of catches up a little bit and makes it a close fight. So from a DFS perspective, I'm more on the dog too. I'm less on the favorite. I just like other favorites on this card. So lower in general. If you made me pick, I do think this fight goes to decision. So I like this fight to go to decision. I do think Aduris probably wins it, but it wouldn't shock me if Morales won a split decision. I wouldn't honestly be that shocked.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, I will probably be coming in a little heavier on Aduris than the field, just because like so much ownership is going to be going to Sakayv and Hooper. I mean, Hooper and Prates are probably, just skipping ahead a bit, are probably going to be two of my bigger, not fades, but like I'm going to be selling them to some degree, because like Hooper is going to probably approach 40% owned, which is fucking crazy. He's got multiple paths to failure. Prates is going to be, about around 30%, which is a lot considering he has a lot of paths to failure as well. So I'm probably going to be favoring, I'm obviously going to be slamming Sakayv, but Aduris, Asakura, Olajchuk, like those are going to be my priorities in the top. Although Aduris does fall lower on that list.
Yes, that makes sense. I totally get that. I pulled up the pick six for these guys, Dan. I don't know if you see anything that sticks out. I do think this fight goes to decision. So maybe a significant strike line. They do seem kind of low to me, honestly, both of them. Morales at 23.5, Aduris at 36.5. Kind of feels low for a fight that I think does go to the cards here, Dan. Do you see anything you love?
Yeah, I mean, if you think it goes to decision, I think Aduris under 91.5 is pretty good. I also like the over on Aduris' significant strikes if you think Morales can survive. Just because
I like that better, just because from a DraftKings perspective, Aduris could get over 91, I think, if there is a lot of wrestling on his end, which could easily be the case. So I think I'd lean the significant strikes and just trust that, or in my head, feel more comfortable this could go the distance, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Josh Lee is saying you always fade. I think he's saying that I always fade Hooper, which is not true. I was actually pretty heavy on Hooper last time, and it cost me. I like Hooper a lot.
I can't remember. Who did he fight last time? Who was the Hooper
Miller.
fight last time?
Was it
Jim Miller? That's right. Yeah. I remember. I mean, Chase Hooper fights are so good, but Chase Hooper fights are so good on DraftKings because of his style. His style is just made perfectly for DraftKings scoring. He's like takedowns, control, reversals, scramble, like all that stuff. And when he gets on top of you, he can just start like throwing down bows or just hunting submissions. Like it's just a perfect style if he can like be relentless with the ground game, which he has shown he can be. So
yeah, I really like Chase. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna have probably like, I don't know, like mid to upper 20s of him, but you know, there's just he's going to be so much more owned than a lot of these options up top, and he could easily be outscored. So I'm really just playing the ownership game there. But I do like Hooper.
We got the Andrews in the house. He says, let's fucking go. The dream. Andrew Black's in here saying he's going to get knocked out or get knocked out. I'm assuming you mean Hooper. I'm not sure. Or you're talking about Morales, either one. I'm not sure. We're jumping all over the board here a little bit. We're not even at the Hooper fight here. And then my guy says, what's the hat say? Well, it's my brother's birthday, and I'm wearing his hat. He owns a gelato shop. He makes homemade gelato. He owns a gelato shop down in my neck of the woods, and it says Frozone. That's his shop. That's the name of his shop. So yeah, if you're in the Western Mass area or Massachusetts area, Frozone, check it out. Homemade gelato if you like gelato. I mean, who doesn't like gelato? You'd be weird if you didn't like gelato. Even I like gelato. That's saying something because I have the worst food takes, and I
don't like anything.
Exactly. That's telling you that gelato is amazing, right? Because I don't like anything.
You want to know what my hat says?
What?
No. Super Bowl champions, baby. Go Birds.
God, you had to pull an Eagles hat. Oh no. It's gonna be the worst when football starts.
So they posted that series, The Kingdom. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, and I saw it. I just skipped right to episode 6 so I could watch them lose in the Super Bowl to the Eagles. It was awesome. Of course. Dude. It was great. They were like, you could see it. You could see it in their faces. Like they thought that shit was a lock. They were like, we're gonna be the first 3-time champions, and just watching them get their dreams pissed all over was it was great. I had a great time watching.
They got crushed too. It's not even close. That's the worst part about it too. They got so fucking killed. Kate Fallick loves gelato on my pizza. Oh, gross. Okay, now you're ruining it. Yeah, there we go. Fuck the birds. Let's go, Michael. Love
Many
that.
have tried.
Fuck the birds. I'm with Michael here. And Steven says Hernandez by KO plus 700. Hernandez couldn't even KO Kurt Holloway. I wouldn't be messing with that.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Let's go to another fight here. I think a much more intriguing fight on the card. Dove KJ says JSU likes warm gelato. I don't know about that one, Dove KJ. I like warm water. I don't know about the warm gelato, though. We've got Deone Barbosa, 7,400 versus Karine Silva, 8,800 over on DraftKings here, Dan. And this is a fight that I really like, and I'm definitely high on right now. Barbosa sitting about a plus 170-ish underdog. And let's see, where is Karine Silva? Minus 198 over on DK Sportsbook right now. Barbosa down to plus 164 now. She was plus 180 yesterday when I looked, and then this morning she was plus 170. Now moving down a little bit more. Dan, this is one of my favorite dogs on the card from a betting perspective. I love Barbosa here. I like girls against Karine Silva that have wrestling and grappling to kind of counter hers, even if she might have a little better grappling. I don't think it's that far off, even if she did. And Barbosa has good wrestling. I think she's got the better hands too. So this line kind of confuses me. I don't really get it. I get that Miranda Maverick put Barbosa in situations a couple fights ago where she got stuck on her back. She tried to play jiu-jitsu. The first round didn't work. And then the second round, she was stuffing takedowns early. And then midway through the round, she went for like a guillotine. It didn't work out. Stuck on her back again for the rest of that, for like the last 2 minutes of that round. And she ends up losing this fight. And it's pretty much just like, I thought she was beating Miranda Maverick on the feet. I thought she was better than her. But then she'd get put in situations where she either wanted to play jiu-jitsu, got stuck flat on her back for too long at important points of the rounds. You know what I mean? Because the way you finish a round is very important. And it felt like every single time she was just finishing on her back. So that's never good from like the judge's perspective. So I think that she's got paths in this fight. I think her best path, honestly, would be to just stay on the feet And I think she'll show that her hands are pretty solid, honestly. She's got to stay away from the body lock, though. Karine Silva has really good body lock takedowns. She's very strong in those positions, too. And so is Barbosa. So that's my one fear is they both like to get into these positions. Actually, one of the ways Barbosa got stuck on her back was in the third round. I think it was, she went for one of those throws, those body lock throws, and she just completely whiffed, and Miranda Maverick ended up, on top of her, and they just stayed there. So that, I think if she can just stuff takedowns and stay at range, she can win this fight. I think she's the better striker, honestly. So I like the over 30.5 significant strikes. I do a pick six. I do 3 pick sixes for DraftKings. I do a little blurb write up for DraftKings every week on Friday. And this was actually one of the 3 I wrote up. Barbosa's line when it opened was 20.5. It's now up to 30.5. I do think this fight goes to decision, Dan. So that's another reason why I like the over. I think this fight goes to the cards. And I think if she can keep it standing, she easily gets over 30.5 or 25.5. So I'm still on it. And I like Barbosa as a dog. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really have too strong feelings on this fight. They're both projecting to be around 20% owned. And I think that's right. It's hard to prioritize Silva at 8,800 just because her finishing number isn't, it's the weakest in this range. No matter if you go to people priced above her, below her, it's just a weak finishing number overall. And she just doesn't produce a ton of offense. That's certainly not enough to be optimal at that price if she's not getting a finish. And then Barbosa on the other side, I have a good amount of interest in. If you think she's better on the feet than Silva, then I really like Barbosa because I think she's got some pretty solid wrestling and grappling skills. And I think if she wins, it is going to come in a pretty grappling heavy decision. So Barbosa 7,400, the inside the distance line of plus 700 is really bad. I'm not expecting a finish, but I think if you could get, again, a wrestling and grappling heavy decision where she's kind of grinding Karine out the way she got grinded out by Araujo her last fight, then I think that could definitely be viable at 7,400. And then, of course, you've always got the benefit of women's scoring, just counting more strikes as significant, things like that. So, yeah, man, honestly, I think that there are options down here that have some more upside, but she's fine to mix in as well. Again, don't have a super strong opinion on this one either way.
And Silva, you're going to need at 8,800, you're going to need takedowns. You definitely want a submission probably win because I think that's her path. And Barbosa's got good grappling though too. So I think that's why both these guys or girls inside the distance numbers are tough right now, Dan. They both of them, their upside is more probably on the ground from a finishing perspective. And I don't think either of them does get the finish on the ground. So that's another reason why I like it to go to the cards, which is why I took the over on the low significant strike number here. Do you see anything else you like for pick six? We've got Silva's number at 37.5 significant strikes, and you can go more or less. Barbosa, you can only go more than, and she's 30.5. Silva, 81.5 fantasy points. Barbosa, 55. Do you see anything you like?
No, I mean, I think you got it with the over on the significant strikes for Barbosa.
Yeah, I'm going to click it even at 30.5, Dan. I still think it's a low-ish number for a fight that goes to the cards, but we'll at the end of the show, we'll find our favorite 6 at the end, and maybe that will be, maybe that won't, but yeah. Nick, there you go. Nick, this gelato place is pretty crazy. I want to go to. There you go, Nick. Purple Cow. Purple Cow is actually one of his more popular ones for sure, but he's got a bunch of flavors. But Purple Cow is definitely a very popular flavor over there. But all right, that's Barbosa and Silva. It seems like we're both much higher on Barbosa just with the price at 7,400 on DraftKings. I'll have no Silva personally. Dan will probably have a little bit, but probably not that much.
I'll probably be about I'll be slightly under just because I think I honestly prefer MVP to her just as a play, but
we'll get there, but I'm with you 100%.
But I mean, I think she's viable. Like, I just, I try to like take a stand on a lot of these, but I'm just coming in at the field on both of these ladies, and I think that's fine. I'll probably come down a little bit on Silva though.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Let's move to the next fight here. We got Edson Barbosa sitting at -122 on DK Sportsbook against Drakkar. Close. This line kind of closing in right now. Close is sitting at +102, a slight dog, but the line has been kind of moving in his favor, Dan. This pricing on DraftKings as well, pretty close, 8,300 for Barbosa, Close sitting at 7,900. So it's one of those fights, Dan. These closely, fights on DraftKings, the 82, 8K, 83, 7,900. People love targeting these fights. Forget about the fight in general, just the pricing. You get a lot of, that mid-tier, which people love in DraftKings MMA. So I assume this fight's going to be somewhat popular. And with the line closing in on the dog more, I want to assume you're on the dog here with the line kind of moving in his favor. But two, from a DraftKings ownership, I think this fight's got to be pretty owned. And I feel like the dog's going to be maybe higher owned than Barbosa. What's happening with that?
Yeah, I've got them both at around 25%. I mean, Barbosa's at 24, Close is at 23. I'm getting about that for both of them as well. I'll probably come down a little bit on Barbosa just because I do think Close wins. I think it's going to be a close fight, obviously, pretty coin flippy. I think it does go to decision. So DFS wise, it's not really my favorite fight, but both of these guys have quite a bit of wear and tear on them. They've got some miles. Barbosa, obviously, far more miles. I think he's slowing down quite a bit. So obviously a finish, a knockout is possible from either of these guys. But it's not something I really want to buy into all that heavily. This match just screams decision to me. And the Close, I guess, has some more wrestling upside than I think Barbosa does. So I like Close a little bit for that as well. But man, not a huge fan of this fight for DFS.
Interesting. I got a little different take. I mean, Barbosa, Close, these guys are, they're not 40 yet, but they're pushing 40. You know what I mean? They got a lot of you said it too. They got a lot of tread on the tire, or a lot of miles, on these tires here. 39 for Barbosa, 37 age for Close. Guys have been taking damage, putting out. I kind of think this fight has a little sneaky chance for an under here. I think there could be a finish. I do lean Edson too. I get it that the line's kind of moving in on Close right now, who does probably have like the straight wrestling upside. But I think the speed of Edson's going to give him issues here. And I think either way, both guys have a chance. Like, Close has power on top of it. He throws with power. So like, I think both guys have a chance to finish the other here. So I kind of like the under as a bet. And I lean more the Edson side. I'm probably going to have more of Edson just because I also think the ownership, it's going to end up being higher than what you have right now on Close, with the line kind of starting to flip. I mean, he could flip to a favorite, Dan. Like, the line is moving that way right now. And if that what's happening right now, like, this is what people look for. So like, people are definitely going to be starting to click him for 400 less over Barbosa. We still got a ton of time before lock. So I kind of like getting over on Barbosa more than Close.
Honestly, I'm not sure how many people I get, like, the line movement, but I'm still not sure how many people are going to get the Close, because I mean, just taking the temperature of the chat, like when we were talking earlier, it's like people are very confident that Barbosa is going to come out here and just fuck Close up. And I don't see that. I think Close is honestly going to be the one coming forward, pressuring. And Barbosa doesn't really deal all that well with pressure. So stylistically, I do like Close here a lot. The more that we talk about it.
All right. Yeah. I know people can't refuse the dog that flips to a favorite. So, I think you'll see a little more ownership than you think. Either way, I think it's a better fight to target than Dan, from what it sounds like. I mean, you said like Close likes to bring pressure. when, you know, these pressure fighters come in and they push against other dangerous fighters, not just shitty fighters, like you will see more damage, more finishes at times. And I do think that one of these guys gets really hurt and probably finished at some point in this fight. So give me the under 2.5, and I'll take Barbosa, even though this line is moving towards close. I'll take Barbosa here. Let's look from pick 6 here, Dan. We've got Barbosa 52.5 significant strikes, more or less, close 57.5. And then we got the fantasy points with Barbosa, slight edge 70.5 to 67.5. Do you see anything here that you like?
Yeah, I like the over on fantasy points for close. I do think that'll win for him. Comes with some wrestling, grappling.
Well, I feel like a win either way. They're getting over this number. Those are low numbers.
Okay, they just took. Oh, and it just went up.
It just went up to 70.5.
Removing the pick.
See, Dan, you're too sharp. You're too sharp. You said it right before.
I'm saying. I think
this line is gonna flip. This line is definitely feels like it's gonna flip. So if you're on the Edson side, you might want to just wait.
Yeah, just wait and don't bet Edson when he flips to a dog.
Dan's like, just don't bet him after that. Just stay away after that. JSU is gonna bet more on him once he flips to a dog. Dan's like, don't bet him ever. All right, me and Dan on opposite sides, Barbosa and close, and I do think it's a good fight to attack here. Let's see, where are we at here? Matty Ice, someone walking away after this one. Okay, so Matty Ice likes the decision here. Interesting, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
DK Sportsbook has entered the chat. We're being spied on.
Yeah. DK's always watching. Hashtag DK partner, baby. Get over to DraftKings, check DraftKings out, and hit the like button on this video. Keep hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's go to the next fight on the card here. Not a close or a line flippy fight in this one here. We got Chase Hooper, 9,300 Chase Hooper versus the man Hernandez, 6,900. Everyone's favorite dog, it feels like, in this chat right now. Dan, I mean, someone said Hernandez by KO at plus 700. I just don't see it. I don't see it personally. I get Chase's striking hasn't been like something that everyone wants to like talk about a ton, but like you look at his fights and it feels like every fight he makes improvements in the striking before he gets to the grappling. And it honestly feels like he makes it a point to try and show it, like that there's improvement before he gets to his grappling. Or maybe that's just how it worked. I don't know. It could just be coincidence, but it feels like he's improving in the striking. And we know he's got the edge on the ground. So, and he can find his way like onto your back without like just taking you down naturally. That's the other thing with Chase Hooper. Like he can just end up in a position from a scramble to like get on top of you in a bad position or get on your back. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He's just so good. He's so long. And, you know, whether he wins a 30-27 decision, which is very possible, or finds a submission, you know, I think he wins this fight. Hernandez was struggling on the feet against Kurt Aliba. He needed takedowns. If Hernandez didn't get those takedowns, he was losing that fight like 100%. If Aliba could have stopped one takedown in the third, he wins that fight. And I don't even think it's close. I'm still kind of tilted because I had Kurt Aliba. If you couldn't tell by the way I'm talking, I had him, but he couldn't stop a takedown. So that lost him the fight. What do you see here with Hernandez, Dan? Because I've got very little of Hernandez, and I have some Chase Hooper because of his grappling and, upside in that department.
So like we talked about before, I'm going to be lower on Hooper than the field just because he is going to be so owned. And I think that there are other comparable, like just as good options, like finishing options up in his range. We talk about it all the time with submission grapplers. Like it's very possible Hooper comes out and just steamrolls Hernandez, gets one takedown, gets a quick submission outside of the first minute. And you're looking at, a sub 100 score at 9,300 which could do it, but I don't think it's going to. So there's that. There's also the fact that, you touched on it. I think Hernandez, I mean, Hooper, with the caveat, of course, that like Hooper is so young and he is improving every single time we see him. Like his wrestling, his striking, everything looks better every time we see him. So I would expect that here as well. But right now on paper, as I'm looking at it, I think Hernandez is probably the better striker. And I think he's a pretty strong defensive wrestler who's also started leaning into his own wrestling more. I mean, he did it in the last
Good.
matchup.
I hope. I pray he leans into his wrestling, because that is leaning into his demise, right? He's going to end up in a fucking pretzel if he does that.
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous to go to the ground with Hooper, right? But I do think if he can get his wrestling going, that's definitely a path to scoring well.
You just made my point, though, to why Hooper is even more of a good bet, I think, because he has leaned into his wrestling at points where, he needs it, and he can't do that here. That's a guaranteed L for him if he does that.
I mean, that could be true, but also, I mean, these are good wins from Hooper, but he's taken out all the unks, man. He's taken out Jim Miller, Clay Guida, Vyacheslav
Bro,
Borshev.
you cannot make fun of Jim Miller on the ground. Jim Miller on the ground is still fucking good. He's old, but he's still good on the ground.
Yeah, he's good, but come on. Like,
you just hate on the olds. You just hate all the old people. It's ridiculous. Respect Jim Miller, bro. Respect him.
He's old. He's
unbelievable.
old.
Jim, if you're out there, this man hates you, but I love you, okay? You're the man. Absolute man. We love Jim Miller on the show. All right, so it sounds like you might have a little more interest in Hernandez than I do. I'm definitely not playing any Hernandez. Again, though, I don't play 150. Dan does play 150, and he doesn't really fade that many fighters in general. He'll just be under or over. So from styles of play, like, are you going to be over on Hernandez? I don't think he's going to be crazy popular.
It depends. Let me see. Yeah, he's going to be like 16, so I'm going to be over on that for sure, just because I think he does have paths in the wrestling and the striking. If he can extend the fight out as well. 6,900, like, I'm willing to take some shots on that.
Yeah, I think I like Morales more than him, to be honest with you. But that's more about Chase Hooper than it is about like Hernandez. Like, Chase Hooper's just better than who Morales is. You know what I mean? So it's more about the favorite, I think, in a way. And I agree with Michael. Veterans, he says, not old. All right, Dan?
All right.
Get it right. Get it right here on the show. Josh Lee made a comment earlier that I thought was funny. He's like, I'm betting that Hernandez gets cut after the fight as opposed to like gets out of the fight. I'm with Josh on that one. I like that one. So
yeah, I mean, I'm never a huge fan of Hernandez usually. He's just like so cheap here, and I do think that he has some viable paths. Obviously the most likely outcome is Hooper comes out and smashes him, but if you need to get different down at the bottom, save some salary, I think you could do worse than Hernandez.
Yeah, I mean, the question is like, could Hernandez survive? He absolutely could survive. You know what I mean? But does surviving come with 12 minutes of control time and a couple takedowns and just getting mauled? You know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to ask yourself from a DFS side. If it does, you're going to score a lot in a Chase Hooper win. If he can like hold off some of the wrestling and grappling, so it's not all fight he's getting wrestling grappled, Chase Hooper will bust in a decision. So that's just what you've got to figure out from a DFS side. He's 9,300. Dan, did you say you were going to be over or under on Chase Hooper at 9,300? I can't remember.
I'll be under, but that's just because he's going to be pushing, probably 40, mid 40s by lock.
Right. Yeah, he's going to be popular.
I'm just going to go with the options around him and hope that he busts, which again, like we already went over it. He's got multiple paths to that, even if he goes out there and wins convincingly. So that's kind of thinking there.
And from a pick six side, I kind of leaned the significant strikes under. But that kind of was more like, I do think he could get a quick win. But if it did go to decision, he could probably get over that. So it's kind of dicey Do you see anything you like?
45.5. I mean,
it's probably not the best fight, honestly, to go pick 6. I feel like.
Yeah, let me look at what I have for significant strikes on these guys, but I don't see a whole lot that's all that interesting.
It is funny, though. The fantasy points, look how high the fantasy points are. Significant strike line, 45.5. It's like, Chase Hooper is just such a beast on the ground.
I think I would take the over on that just because I do think Hernandez can survive long enough to.
Which one? Sorry, which one?
Over 45.5 for Hooper.
You like the over more? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a fight we should honestly do pick 6 for anyway. So we got 12 fights. I don't think we need to. I can click it though for now, but we'll see when we get through all these fights here. Let's get to the next fight on the card. If there was a fight time over, I'd consider that. I agree. I don't see a fight time over. I agree. That's probably a better bet if it was like set at like 8.5 or something like that, because then it still gives you a chance for a late Chase Hooper finish, and you could still get over that line. So unfortunately, they don't have that one. But if you do see that somewhere, it's definitely a good thing. The fight time to check out. They have it on a few fights, but not this one here. Let's go to the next fight. Women's division here. Jessica Andrade, 7,800 on DraftKings versus Lupi Godinez, 8,400 on DK. And this line is also moving in favor of the dog here. Jessica Andrade sitting at plus 120 on DraftKings Sportsbook, while Lupi sitting at minus 142. Dan, I went back and forth on this fight. It's not a fight that I feel super confident from a betting side. I could see both sides in this fight. I could see, the step up from like a striking perspective with Andrade, and she does have power and she packs a punch and she can hurt girls on the feet. So like she could definitely catch Lupi. Lupi took some shots in her last fight. She definitely needed the wrestling in her last fight. So could Jessica hurt her on the feet? I definitely think that's possible. But Lupi does have the wrestling in her back pocket, which she showed off last fight. And Jessica has struggled when she's hit the mat. And I know those are two really good girls, especially really good like wrestling and grappling girls on the mat. But Lupi, when she's on her game, is really good all around, in my opinion. It's just some fights she's kind of hit or miss, right? Some fights she looks good, and then some fights she doesn't look the same. And it's like, is that the same girl I watched last fight? Just like dominate and ragdoll girls. So I'm picking Lupi is my point, but I don't feel confident in this fight. I think it's a good fight to target for DraftKings, though. What do you think? And what's so funny, by the way?
Just one of the comments in the chat, which I'm about to touch on. She's got non-existent fight IQ, dude. Like, you just cannot trust her. I think she could come out here and find some wrestling and grappling success. Like, Andrade has struggled with being taken down, controlled. She's been submitted, but it's usually against like pretty top flight wrestlers and grapplers. And I just don't really consider Lupi to be that. I think Lupi is probably, she looks like she's going to be reasonably popular, almost like 30% owned. And I'm just never that high on Lupi. She just lacks finishing upside. She obviously, it's really just a lack of finishing upside and fight IQ for me. And in this matchup in particular, like, I think Andrade, I know Lupi is going to be outmatched on the feet. And obviously you mentioned that the line is moving towards Andrade. I think she's got pretty solid inside the distance line for her price down here, like plus 375. It's not spectacular, but it's definitely viable. And she's looked like she's slowed down. She's
plus
been
300 on DraftKings, by the way, Dan.
Okay. So, she's been fighting because she needs money. We can get that narrative like kind of just out there in the open. So she doesn't always come in looking her best. Her motivation does seem to be more financial than, championship aspirations at this point, which isn't awesome, but she's got knockout power, and I think she can definitely put Godinez out here.
Yeah, so Maddie says, I had a vision that Andrade was optimal. I had a vision that this fight was optimal either way. So I do like this fight for DraftKings. I'm going to be heavier on the Lupi side just because I lean the takedowns on DraftKings, and she does have that path, that upside path where she can get a bunch of takedowns, control time. Also, Dan, I bet this, I think it was this morning, this submission line for Loopy. I know you don't like it, but on DraftKings, it was plus 700. It's now plus 550 over on DraftKings. So I know you don't like the inside the distance, but I did think at plus 700, Andrade would give her some opportunities to maybe possibly find a submission if she could get her down, which I do think is very possible. So I kind of like that. I know the line's moved a little bit, but I still think she's got more of a chance. She has more control at times than we would like, but the way Andrade fights, she's very aggressive and she can put herself in spots where she just kind of gets caught in a bad spot. So I don't mind that. If you want to sprinkle a little bit on the submission for Loopy, I don't mind that as a long shot here. But it sounds like you're on Andrade. I'm going to be more on Loopy.
Also, just the other thing.
Oh, Redmond says sub was plus 900 yesterday. So I looked this morning on DraftKings, but man, if you got plus 900, that is sweet.
I mean, if Loopy gets a finish here, she's going to smash because it's going to come with, it's going to come with wrestling and grappling. And yeah, I mean, she'll kill me and ruin my night.
You know why though? You know why you don't, Daniels? He says, I just don't rate Loopy with the likes of Jazz Devicius and Nat Silva. The reason you don't is because Jazz Devicius, Nat Silva, they're consistent. Every fight they go out there and you see that same fighter, win or lose, you see that same fighter. They have the same styles. They do the same things every fight. And they normally dominate most fights. You know what I mean? And Nat Silva is just, she's on a different planet when it comes to the striking than a lot of these girls. Like her movement in striking is so fucking pure. It's awesome. Yeah. And Jasmine's just a bulldog. So it's just like a different style. She's like a bulldog wrestler brawler. You know what I mean? Even if she's not better than you talent wise, she'll just bully and brawl and push her way into her style fight. Some of these girls aren't like that. So they're just completely different. Pilastri, the win does nothing. Yeah, no, it didn't. It honestly looked, even though she won, it kind of was a bad win, honestly, the way it looked. But that's Loopy fights. I'm telling you, some fights she comes in, she looks amazing. And some fights she's hit or miss. I just think we don't know what we're going to get 100%. So I get why you would be scared to put your money on her. I'm just saying, she does have the upside to get you there on DraftKings, from a DFS perspective, for sure.
Brady asked a little while back. He said Saber has Loopy at 40% ownership. Is that right? And the more we're talking about it, I could see her. I have her at closer to 30, but I could definitely see her approaching 40 as well. She's definitely the type. It's like wrestlers and grapplers, man. Their ownership always seems to come in just a little bit higher than it's projected. So I could definitely see that.
Pricing too, right? 8,400, 7,800. Those type of pricing fights too. People do like to jam them.
One last thing I wanted to say about Andrade too is that she is back at strawweight, where she's had some more recent success. Her last two losses were up at flyweight. Now she's back down at strawweight. Just something to note.
Okay. I like that, Dan. Here's the pick six. We got a little more for this site. We got for this fight here. We've got some takedown lines, a little control time. If you like control time, do we see anything we could pick out here?
Yeah, man. I like the over on significant strikes for Andrade.
At 58.5?
Yeah.
My one worry about that is that she gets stuck on her back. That's my one worry about that line.
I'm not that worried about that, man. I think she's going to be able to keep it standing. I think she's going to touch Loopy up. And Loopy is reasonably durable. So I don't think she's going to go out immediately, but I think Andrade is going to fuck her up on the feet.
All right. Well, we'll click that one for now. I just worry she gets stuck. Yeah, we can toss it if we like better ones, but we'll click that one. For now, that's that. I do think it's one of those fights, and Zero Gravity says Loopy scores poorly after high scoring fights. Yeah, she could easily score bad. If she doesn't get the takedowns, I do think that Andrade is going to hurt her on the feet. So she kind of has to mix in the takedowns. It doesn't have to be all takedowns, but she does have to mix them in, or she's definitely going to get, hurt at some point in this fight.
Andrade's real troubles, are once she gets taken down, then she can be controlled. She has a little trouble getting off of her back, but her first layer takedown defense is good. She can stuff takedowns and keep it standing, which is
it's just the relentless style. If you just go all in on them though, and you get her down, that's where you're going to have your success. That's why I think, Dan, if she does get her down, she'll have more chances than you think to maybe possibly find more of a finish or chance for a finish.
I could definitely see that. I guess I'm just I'm buying into the idea that Andrade is just going to shut down Loopy's A game. And if you shut down Loopy's A game, she kind of falls apart.
It's fair. It's fair enough. All right. We got over 300 people on YouTube watching here. Like I said earlier in the show, we are 20 subs away on YouTube, subscribers away on YouTube from hitting over 20K subscribers. So if you guys could smash the like and ring that bell, subscribe to the channel. If you want to get notified every time we go live for these free shows, just ring that bell. We're trying to get over that 20K mark during the show. And check out RunPureSports.com. We got all the packages up, weekly, monthly, annual. If you guys want to do single sport packages, we got the NFL package up. We've got the full Run Pure Premium package, which gets you all the sports. It gets you SaberSim 500 lineups and the Sims. If you love SaberSim, if you love their optimizer, which is one of the best optos in the business and Sims around, check out SaberSim, get the Run Pure Premium package, get all the sports, and join us in the Discord as well. Once you sign up for any package, just link your account to the Discord. Really easy to get in, talk sports with us all throughout the day, whatever sports you want. We've got the channels in there, talking ball.
Get in the Discord. You know the Discord's going to be going fucking crazy tonight.
Yeah. The fight Discord is the best.
Pay-per-views really bring it out and everyone. Yeah. I'm going to miss pay-per-views, honestly.
It gets everyone, Dan, until everyone's fuck, pissed because their guy just lost or something like that. And everyone's just tilting because everyone was on the same fighter and they just lost. So that was Miles. That was Miles Johns. that was Miles Johns, I think. I think everyone checked out after the Johns fight. They were so mad. They were I need a break from this.
That was upsetting. I was tilted because I for a moment I was man, I think I have the top Hernandez with Johns, and then it ended up being Johns in the winner anyway. I was there was no need to tilt that 3 fights ago. Good lesson in just not looking until the end of the night, especially if you're MMAing.
Dude, I never look. Never look. That's a vet move right there. Never look until the end. If you want to look last fight, because you're okay, I need this to win, or if this happens, I lose. That's fine, but never look until the end. That's a pro move right there. That definitely don't look early. All right, next fight here on the card. Another fight where you got clash of styles here. Gerald Mirshard plus 180 on DK Sportsbook versus Michal Olajchuk here. Michal sitting at minus 218. Michal wants to strike. He's a striker. He wants to keep this fight on the feet and use his striking. And when he does that, he has success. His last 3 fights that have ended with him losing inside the distance, he's been submitted. And the book's out on him. If you can get him down and control him, solid grapplers can submit him. And Gerald Mirshard is a very good grappler. He's got a ton of fights under his belt, and he's kind of submission or bust in a way. If this fight does stay standing, I think Michal just pieces him up. So the fight's going one way or the other, Dan. I like the under 1.5 here. I think it's juiced to the under 2 pretty good. But I still think we either see a sub early from GM3, or we see Olajchuk put it to him and put his lights out in under a round and a half. Even if it gets past the first round, he gets hurt a few times, and in the second round he puts the nail in the coffin, as they say. I could see something like that, but I do think this fight finishes, and I like that. I did pick GM3. I am going to bet him at plus 180, but I totally understand he's submission or Michal's putting his lights out. And this was another pick 6-1 that I had written up for DraftKings, Dan. I had the less than, and it was significant strike line of 36.5. It's now down to 30.5. So I think people think this fight is ending early is more my point.
Yeah. This over 8, it's a shame they won't let you bet the under on 8.5 fight time, because I do not think it's going to last that long.
Dude, I wish they would let us bet unders on fight time. Even if they set it a little like a little lower or a little higher, like let us bet the unders. Like to just put the line a little more, an extra minute or something. Let's bet the unders.
Yeah, make sharper lines, guys.
Yeah.
But I think you broke it down perfectly. A super binary matchup. Olajchuk is the striker. If he wins, he's going to knock Mirshard out. Mirshard, he's going to get a sub as the submission grappler. Like, these guys are both strong where the other one is weakest. It's this is just like a classic old school UFC clash of styles. It's going to be popular. They're both approaching 30% owned, but I think that's warranted. I'm going to be a bit heavier on the Olajchuk side just because I think he wins, and his inside the distance numbers for 9K are really, really strong. So I really like Olajchuk here. But Mirshard is absolutely in it, and he's going to be probably, I think he's going to be my highest owned dog. Let me see what I got here for dogs.
I was going to say, I feel like he's going to be a popular dog. Everyone knows he's submission or bust.
He's going to be popular, but I think it's warranted. I'm just going to look to get different elsewhere. I really love this fight. There's really not much more else to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, the unders, I thought it was going to be a little more juice, the under. On DK, it's minus 125. So slight lean to the under. Overs minus 105. I mean, I like that. I thought it was going to be more. I thought it was like minus 140 or minus 150, honestly. So I do really like the under here. And like I said, zero gravity's right. If GM3 doesn't get this to the mat, he's going to be a punching bag for Olajchuk, and he probably gets it done pretty quickly. So I think you just lean one of those two ways. This is a good fight, though, on DraftKings DFS, Dan. I mean, I'd be fine with you going super heavy on this fight. Like if you wanted to go 50-50 or 60-40 on one side, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, it's going to lock you out of some combinations. So I won't be going that heavy, but I'm probably going to be approaching like 40s on Olajchuk and 30s on GM3, which probably be a bet around the field. Maybe I'll try to get a little bit higher than that. But I mean, you've got so many viable dogs down here that you don't really need to slam GM3 that hard. But he's definitely, I think he's probably the best play down here now that I'm looking at it.
Bro, Connor. Yeah, they're crazy today. They came in full force. Just all of a sudden, we hit the algo or something, and we just got them all just riding in at the same time. It's insane.
Dude, the people want Hamzat. They're here looking for Hamzat.
Dude, I'm with you. Hamza all the way, baby. Let's go. Do I gotta fully shave the stash and get the Islam beard going again? I will do it. I'll get my Islam Makhachev beard going again.
I was disappointed that you didn't show up with the chin strap beard. I thought for sure.
I thought about it. I really did think about calling my barber and being like, "Hey, can we get a quick 20-minute touch up real quick for the show?" But I didn't do it, so I didn't do it. I know, a week. I should have done it, but what are you gonna do, man? I'll try better for next time Islam fights. I'll definitely do it. I'll definitely friggin' do it. But
all right, I'm holding you to that.
All right, so the 30.5 line is definitely better, Dan. I think for the strike line, I could still see the under though. Definitely. I don't like Mirshard's significant strikes. It's just the more. I don't like that. If you like Olajchuk, I think the fantasy points is easy because if you like him, I think he wins by finish. And the number seems kind of low too, honestly. Like if he wins under 1.5, Dan, he's getting over that fantasy point line.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Unless, I mean, you could have a scenario where he spends the entire first round on his back, then comes out and knocks GM3 out early in the second. But
True.
That is the one down
Which one would you rather? Would you rather go over on Michal 87.5 fantasy points or under on the significant strikes at 30.5 still?
Let me see what I got for. That's tough. I would probably want to go over on fantasy points for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I think you can get over 30.5 strikes. I mean, Mirshard, he can be hurt and knocked out. But man, going that long with RDR, that RDR loss is just aging better and better every time we see RDR.
That fight is so different though, because both guys' styles were, like defending on the mat, and like he can survive he showed he could survive for a long time, like doing that.
Yeah.
And then he just actually both of them gassed out. He just gassed out a little harder at the end. That's just like the crazy thing. But like he could defend for like 2 rounds. It's just in that 30 and nothing left. Like, dude, if this fight gets to a 3rd round, he's going to have nothing left. Like absolutely nothing left. Because it'll probably mean he got some wrestling and grappling early. And then like 2nd round, it wasn't working. And then by the 3rd round, he gasses out. So that's kind of how GM3 fights go if they go later. But we'll see. I do think that either the under 30.5 or the over on fantasy points would be the way to go with Olajchuk. Choose your fighter, choose your side. I will be betting the GM3. GM3 sub is plus 400 if you want the fun one. It's plus 400 if you want the fun one. So, yeah. Should we bet CHIMAEV? Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll get there in a second. we're not there yet. So we'll get there in a little bit here. But yes, I like that a lot. DDP under a half KO, along with Bryce Young under on passing, about to hit. Okay. All right, there we go. From Linnell Turner. Dan, let's move to the next fight on the card here. And we got our guy, actually Dana's guy, the UFC's guy here, Sakayv, 9,600 for Sakayv against, Eric. I keep wanting to call him Tom Nolan because I keep seeing Nolan, and I think every single time for some reason I keep thinking Tom Nolan. Eric Nolan, though, 6,600. Both guys coming in, short notice fight. I mean, this dude Sakayv just fought 4 days ago or whatever it was on the Dana White Contender Series. If you don't know, he had a knockout. It was just like a front push kick to the liver, and dude just dropped and folded, walked right over him, just like raising his hands. Dana told him he saved his Tuesday. He told Dana 4 days, like, get me on the card pretty much. And Dana was like, you're my guy, sure. And he got him on the card. So I expect this fight to just be, just like a funeral, Dan. Like it's going to happen where like this fight is going to end under, and this fight is going to end very violently, in my opinion. From what I've seen of Nolan, he wants to strike more. It's not like he's like a super heavy grappler or wrestler. I think these guys are both going to try and throw heavy. Nolan doesn't do anything that I think Sakayv is going to have a problem with. He's going to have the height, the reach. Everything's just trending in jam Sakayv and just hope he finishes him in the first round, and you get like maybe you get the win bonus, maybe you don't, but you get like a nice 105 score plus, and you take your points and move on, Dan, because I do feel like this fight finishes very quickly.
Yeah, 9,600. He's not that hard to fit just because we do have so many like live viable dogs for cheap on this slate. And yeah, this is unheard turnaround time. Like 2 fights in 4 days is pretty insane. But the UFC and Dana White specifically clearly really, really like this guy. Like you said, that he saved his Tuesday night, saved all of our Tuesday nights because that Contender Series card was fucking putrid, just god awful. But yeah, like you said, Eric Nolan, I'm not really sure what he excels at, if anything. It's like he's just kind of been brought in here to die. I think that's what's going to happen. You know, you got an inside the distance line of minus 400, round one number of minus 135. Those are far and away the strongest numbers on the slate. I'm going to be jamming Sakayv. I'm probably going to have I'm going to have as much of him as I can get to while also jamming CHIMAEV. They're both going to be really popular. So I'll probably have to, I mean, obviously I'll have lineups where I can't have both of them. But I expect to try to get to around 50% on Sakayv. And then Nolan, we touched on it before when we talked about Morales. Like, I'm more interested in Morales than I am Nolan. And Nolan, I'm getting just with like plain projections on Nolan, I'm getting like 1% of him. So I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight it too hard. And if he manages to pull off a huge upset and ruin Dana's night, then I'd move on to next week.
There you go. Love that. I'm with you. Just jam him and hope he gets it done pretty early. I got the pick 6 lines up here, Dan. You know, I don't like the Nolan because I can't take less than, and you know, Sakayv, I definitely like the more on fantasy points.
Yeah.
The 27.5 significant strikes. He could go less. He could go more. I like the more on fantasy, though, I think.
I'm liking Sakayv in round 1, and it's almost definitely going to come with a knockdown. So that's 100 points right there. I definitely like the over on fantasy points. I will say, I mean, these guys, Sakayv and Adiris, who we talked about before, they are pretty untested and unproven. And especially in the case of Sakayv, we've seen him get out of a round 1 or make it to a round 3 just a single time, and he did seem to slow down. So just want to throw that out there. We don't really know what this guy looks like outside of a first round or when he hits a little bit of adversity, but I don't expect Eric Nolan to be like his first dose of adversity. I think he'll probably run through him pretty easily.
Yeah. People in the chat asking when are fights. Fights are not for hours. So card doesn't start until 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for anyone wondering when the fights are, they are not now. They are in hours. Yeah. Where you still got plenty of time. That's more the point. So come back in about 4.5 hours. But yeah, more than on the fantasy points. What's up?
Or better yet, stay with us here. Then go.
Yeah, or stay with us here. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Hit the like button, though, if you're going to leave. Just hit the like button on your way out.
And subscribe.
But yeah, and subscribe. Sakayv over 1.5, over 101.5 fantasy points. I like the more. Let's keep it moving here. Get to the next fight on the card. We got Tim Elliott here versus Kai Asakura. Asakura, a pretty solid favorite, sitting at minus 298. Tim Elliott, a plus 240 underdog here on DraftKings. Asakura is 9,200. Tim Elliott, 7K. And Dan, I will say, just from this standpoint and from the breakdown perspective, I am a Tim Elliott fan. I bet Tim Elliott a lot. He's just like one of those guys. He's been a big dog a bunch, or a closely lined fighter, and he's gotten the job done a good amount. Like outside the Sakayv fight, where he did get finished in round 3, but you know, he gave it a good run. You know, he's a fighter at the end of the day. He's not like amazing on the feet, but he's good enough, and he's got veteran savvy. He's obviously got a ton of fights under his belt. You know, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to stay around and be durable, right? Which he's kind of shown. He's been very durable here. But, you know, Asakura on the other side, they threw him in. And in my opinion, you know, obviously this dude's a massive talent, but they threw him to the wolves, giving him Pantoja. And he just got owned, really. And honestly, it should have been it was expected to most people, in my opinion, but like Pantoja was just so much better at the area that he could attack the weakness of Asakura. But like Tim Elliott, I've heard people say like Tim Elliott's got takedowns. Tim Elliott's got grappling. Well, yeah, he does have takedowns. He's got grappling, but they're not like Pantoja's takedowns. I mean, and I went back and looked at the fight because I was wondering to myself, you know, was it as bad as I remember in my head? Because obviously I bet Pantoja. I had Pantoja sub. It was like my biggest bet on the card. I was super like confident in the submission early too, right? So I got all this money on it. So I went back and I watched, and I was like, how easy was it for him? And I watched Pantoja go for takedowns. Asakura actually defend pretty decently, but it was like the second and third efforts in the creativeness where Pantoja finally got him. But like Asakura at one point in the first round, totally dry, flat on his back, and he found a way to just like get back to his feet. And he wasn't even near the cage, and he found a way to do that. This dude is very talented. It's just like Pantoja caught him against the cage where he tripped him, and instead of going for like a single or a double, jumped his back. And like, that's how he got him down. It was like a very creative takedown that got him to the submission point. It's not like your normal, single or double. And I just don't think Tim Elliott has those type of skills. He's not that advanced like Pantoja when it comes to that game. So I think Kai Asakura can defend takedowns, and I think he can find a point where he hurts Tim Elliott. Maybe gets him out of there, maybe doesn't, but I think he's going to hurt him, and I think he's going to win this fight, whether it's 30-27 or win by KO. So I like Asakura here, and I do think he could find a finish, even though Tim Elliott's tough.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I just think that Asakura's size, physicality, and speed is going to create a lot of problems for Elliott. Elliott's a really aggressive wrestler. He'll go out there. He's going to attempt a ton of takedowns, but I think Asakura, like you said, is going to be able to keep this one standing. And then on the feet, like I already touched on, the speed is going to be a huge problem. I actually like Asakura up here in this top range at 9,200. Like, he's going to be one of the guys that I'm pivoting to when I'm not going, 40-50% on Hooper, because I'm going to be, on Asakura. Obviously, his finishing number is, it's plus 140, around the same as Adiris. So not the strongest number, but I definitely think he can knock Elliott out. Elliott has been reasonably durable, but I'm not sure he's really faced anybody with the power of Asakura. Also, Elliott, clearly his best days are behind him. He's slowed down quite a bit. He's got a lot of shit going on in his personal life. If you follow his social media accounts, he doesn't seem super locked in during fight week. That's all kind of more narrative-y, but I really do like Asakura in this spot. And it kind of just keeps going with that theme of they match you up when you come from another organization that isn't like a lower tier regional organization, when one that's kind of a little more lateral, even though calling PFL or Bellator lateral to UFC is kind of laughable. But, when they come from an organization like that, they're going to match them up tough for their debut, but then they give them a much easier fight the next fight. So that's what this is for Asakura. Huge step down. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him knock Tim Elliott out.
Yeah, I think it could happen. And I saw Daniel say he thinks that people are just writing off Tim Elliott. No, I don't think so. I think people just see him as a step down, a massive step down from Pantoja. Obviously, this Asakura kid is very talented. If his first fight in the UFC is against Pantoja, who's just dusting everyone, and Tim Elliott's just not that level. I mean, Tim Elliott's good. He's a vet. He's a perfect guy to give Asakura after that loss. He's a perfect guy because you still get to test the takedown defense and everything, but you get to give him a lower level. And also in that fight against Pantoja's chin is ridiculous. Like, he walked through some shit that most people don't walk through with Kai Asakura, and he just walked right through it, throwing punches. I think he took a knee at one point that was flush, and he just held on to a single, taking the knee. So it's just one of those things where I'm going to trust the talent, and the fact that they gave this kid Pantoja on his first fight, that tells you everything you need to know. And what I watched, his takedown defense was actually pretty good. It was just the creativeness of Pantoja that won out in the end. I don't know if Tim Elliott has that second type of level in his game to be able to finish him like that. So I'm with Dan. I got Asakura. The DK pick six lines under 46.5. I think he could get under that number. He's creative, and one shot, he's got the power to put him out. So I kind of like the under. on the significant strikes. I don't really love Tim Elliott's numbers here. Control time 4.5. That seems like a decent amount. I don't love that. Do you see anything, Dan?
I think if anything, it would be. No, I really don't like anything because I've actually got Asakura's significant strikes right on that number, and everything else. I mean, maybe I would take over on the fantasy points just because I think Asakura does knock Elliott out. But yeah, that's about it, man. They really need to let us bet under on these fight times.
Yeah, I want the under so bad. What the fuck is going on? We've been infiltrated. And we definitely have some trolls and stuff like that, which is fine. But Bobby Boom is here. He said he's ready to fight if needed. So shout out to my guy Bobby Boom. Let's give away a free sub to Hamzat, super fan in the chat. I agree. Free sub for the super fan in the chat. Only if Hamzat wins, though, which we're all betting on. So only if Hamzat wins. He's got to get it done for us first, and then maybe we'll get there. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. But maybe I'll just have to start. Maybe I'll just have to mass banning just all at one point. The problem is they'll just keep coming at some point.
We can keep them around.
Yeah,
that's all right.
We'll keep you around. It's fine. You can listen through and
there's plenty around.
I'll still try and get it. JSU, our resident Armenian. That's right. Shout out to Armenians. Any Armenians listening?
Still no Big T.
Yeah, Big T's such a big bitch, by the way. I'm with James. Such a big bitch. I mean, James didn't say that, but like he said shocking. And what he meant to say was he's a big bitch. That's what he meant to say. Okay.
That's what I heard.
And my guy WKJ bringing his kids to college right now. And, he said, me and Dan need to go for 2.5 hours or something like that. And I felt like he was challenging me and Dan. Like, you guys can't go for 2.5 hours while I drive my kids to college. And so me and Dan are like, fuck yeah, we can. We're already an hour and a half in. How about that shit, WKJ?
I think the two of us could talk for 2.5 days.
Easily, bro. Easily. I think honestly, I could just talk by myself for 2.5 hours if I really
I know you
wanted.
could. I know you could. You definitely could.
So me and Dan could definitely talk for 2.5 hours because I know I could talk for 2.5 hours by myself.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's right. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
All
right. James said that. Yeah, James wants to know. He said that too. Okay, fair enough. I love that. Let's go to the next fight here on the card. Which fight are we at? Michael Venom Page, 8,700 versus Jared Cannonier, 7,500 on DraftKings right now. In this line, sitting at Jared Cannonier plus 170, Michael Venom Page minus 205. It's been kind of hovering around there, right? Like Page minus 115 to like minus 205, somewhere in there. Dude, Big T is calling me right now. This is absolutely hurtful and disgusting that he's even call. I'm going to give him the FU button. How about that, Big T? I gave you the FU button.
If you want to
talk,
that
is disgusting.
Show, T.
That's right. Yeah, if you want to talk to me, you got to come on the show and talk fights like a man. I'm actually going to text him that too while Dan talks about this fight. But Dan, you talked about Michael Venom Page. You said you were going to have more interest than him than some others in this range. I forget exactly who you said, but talk about why you like Michael Venom Page in this fight specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I think MVP has some pretty underrated knockout upside in this matchup. He's got on the feet, he's a really slick, powerful striker. He doesn't really throw that much volume. He's got more of that kind of bladed karate stance, and he'll just like quickly dart in with a shot or two, dart back out. But I think that's going to cause a lot of problems for Cannonier. Cannonier's he's just slow, man. And he's gotten the shit kicked out of him very recently. Like, I had RoboCop in his last fight and we were about this close. Like, that fight probably could have been stopped. He got his shit absolutely rocked. Like, to his credit, he came back, won. Showed off the reasons why I also like Cannonier in this matchup. Like, obviously he's got crazy power. He can knock out anybody in the division. He's definitely capable of knocking Page out. I just favor Page here, man. I think the speed is going to be a really big problem. I would like Cannonier a lot more if you could guarantee me that he will come out and wrestle. He's mostly been content to just stand and strike, but he has leaned into the wrestling a little bit more. And I think that is where Page can be had, is in the wrestling on the mat. Anybody who's tried to take Page down has been able to take him down multiple times. So I think that's a good path for Cannonier to win and to score really well, even if he doesn't get a finish. So I've got a good amount of interest in this fight, man. I think I'm going to like Page a bit more than the field. I think his KO number is a bit wide. So yeah, man. And I don't think I already said it, I don't think anybody's really going to be on Page. And I think he's probably one of my favorite, low owned pivots up here in the top.
Yeah. So I agree with you. And Page is someone who I've struggled to back from a DFS side, and I've been right on. I did obviously like him against Magomedov, who stinks in the last fight. That was the easy dub. But, other than that, I've been pretty much against him. Burned me once, got right the other time. He's just one of those guys, he's very specific. Certain fights, he's going to have the edge in. And this fight, he's going to have the edge. He's going to have the massive speed advantage, massive. I mean, Jared Cannonier was getting lit up by Gregory Rodriguez. And I don't know how he took the beating that he took. I mean, this dude is tough. But at the end of the day, I think Michael Venom Page, I think the speed is going to win. He said some bullshit about him trying to hunt for knockouts and how he's not going to do it and he's going to let it come to him. Dude, you don't hunt for knock. Well, you wait for the one-shot knockout, but you don't hunt them, because hunting them is moving forward. And once you hurt someone, trying to put them down and out, you don't do that. You just try for that one shot where you leap and throw. The problem is too, he leaves his feet a lot. He because he can cover so much distance, which makes him dangerous, but it takes a little off the punch. So he said he's going to let it come to him more, the knockout and stuff like that. But I think he's going to use his movement. He's going to use his speed, and he's just going to snipe Cannonier, and he might be able to find a finish. Honestly, the way Cannonier is just, eventually you don't walk through these things anymore, right, Dan? And Cannonier's going to want to slow his movement down. So he's going to want to get a hold of him, right? He's going to want to push him up against the cage, catch him so he can't use his speed as much, and then attack from there. So if that doesn't happen, though, I think he just gets sniped at range and then maybe eventually put out. So I agree with you. I think he's a sneaky DFS play that no one wants to click, including myself, that I'm going to force myself to play some of at low ownership. What's his ownership coming in at?
I've got him at, where are we at? 15%. I mean, I could see him coming in even lower than that. These box scores are just atrocious. 50 and 53 in his 2 wins. I really don't see anybody clicking on that, especially not at 8,700.
Of that. Paul says he bet $1 million on Chimaev. It's not enough, Paul. It's not enough. Bet more. Attaboy, Paul. We love that. So I think from this fight, though, Dan, I do think the way Jared Cannonier fights, I kind of lean the over on some of these, the fantasy points or the significant strikes. I think the fantasy points, though, I think Michael Venom Page can get over 62.5 with the Jared Cannonier style of just eating punches and trying to walk through it. I think we get more volume than we've seen in the past out of Venom Page.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I do like the over on fantasy points.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm gonna take one of these.
Cannonier, Cannonier is gonna have to force the issue and try to close the distance and get inside there. So
I agree.
I think it's gonna extend long enough, and there's gonna be some wrestling and grappling going on. But I ultimately think Cannonier, if he comes inside, that's gonna be danger for him. I think Page is really live to get the knockout here. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's very live, and I'm probably going to bet the KO number on DraftKings. I think it was plus 350 when I bet it earlier this morning. It might have moved a tad, but somewhere around there for Michael Venom Page. So I like that bet. I'm gonna lean into that a little bit, and I will have some in DFS just because of the lower ownership here. Let's move it on to the next fight.
Real quick, I was looking at the knockout number for Page and the inside the distance number. The inside the distance number is plus 320 on Page, so I would just take that.
Yeah, you should just take that. You never know what can happen, I guess. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We've got Jeff Neal plus 164 versus Carlos Prates minus 198 on DK Sportsbook, and Prates sitting 9,100 on DraftKings. Jeff Neal 7,100. And this was the third pick six fight I had written up, Dan, because I do like the Prates fight time over and the significant strike line on Prates over as well. I think Jeff Neal is durable enough to hang out and strike with this dude for over 2 rounds, get into the third round, in which maybe it goes to the cards, maybe goes the full distance, maybe Prates finds a late finish. But I do think Prates wins, but I do think Jeff Neal can honestly survive long enough to get us over the fight time. The fight time is what I wrote up. I do like it over 10.5 minutes of fight time. So pretty much get us into that third round, and we're going to be pretty much golden right there. So I like that one for pick six. And like I said, I also like the significant strike line. I think it might have moved a little up, just a tiny bit though, 50.5 number though. I still think he goes over that. I think these guys stand for 3 rounds, Dan. I think they stand and bang. I don't see wrestling, right? I think these guys are going to throw, and I think they're both tough enough to withstand the other's power here. So that's kind of my take and my case. From a DFS angle, I'm very low on this fight because I do think Prates wins. I don't know if there's a finish, and I think it's all striking. So in an all striking fight, Dan, we saw the Rimovich fight, 3 rounds, all striking. And what did we get for the winner? 80 points. Not good. So if I think even if I thought it was a war, which I don't think it's a war like that, we're still not scoring what we need at 9,100. So unless you think Jeff Neal wins in my scenario, you should probably fade this fight. If you think Prates wins, if you think it goes the way I go. Obviously, if he finishes this in the first round, either way, you're going to be sitting good. But I just don't see that happening. I think these guys are both durable enough to hang in there.
Yeah, I mean, Neal's durability is really the main issue for me when it comes to Prates. Obviously Prates, he doesn't really throw much volume, but he's just a sniper in there. He touches you, he's got deadly accuracy, and you just die. But the downside to that is if the early knockout doesn't materialize, he can be outworked on the feet. And Jeff Neal, like you said, this is going to be a stand-up fight. So I do like that Prates is going to get the stand-up fight that he wants. The wrestling and grappling isn't going to get tested. But I also like that for Neal. I think Neal can outwork Prates over the course of 3 rounds. And even I put it in the write-up, Neal could conceivably at his price win low vault, just a striking based decision, score 60 to 70 and sneak into the optimal because he's only 7,100. And Prates, I have him at 26% right now. I can see that creeping closer to 30s. I just think that's way too high for a guy who is super one-dimensional and has a pretty small window to make the optimal. He could get a second round finish and still miss the optimal at 9,100. He could score sub 90. So yeah, Neal, way more interesting to me from a DFS perspective. And I'm going to be coming in pretty low on Prates. I don't really understand why this line is. I mean, I understand why the line is so wide, but it feels a little disrespectful to Jeff Neal, who has been in there with everybody, arguably gave Shavkat one of his toughest fights. Yeah, I'm I'm in on the Neal side on this fight for DFS.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think if I were to play anyone for DFS, it would be Neal, but I don't think he wins. So I'm going to be just lower on this fight in general. And like I said, fight time over. Dan, do you like the fight time over?
What is it?
10.5 is the line.
Yeah, I do.
Or would you rather the significant strike line?
No, I think I'd rather take the over fight time.
I like the fight time too. All right, I'm going to take one of these out.
I think Neal does have some knockout upside too, though. Like his inside the distance line is plus 425, which isn't really great.
I mean, he definitely has power for sure.
I think he's got more power than anybody Prates has faced in the UFC so far. So
yes, I just think they both have massive power. So, you know what? I'm going to take this one out just because you like it, but I'm not as in on it. I'm going to put one we both like in.
No,
because you like it, but I don't like it too. So I unless we both like them, I want both of us to like them. If we both don't like these, then we'll pull them out. We'll go through them at the end. Let's see. Okay, that's Prates Neal. We're both lower on it for DFS. You're a little higher on Jeff Neal, just at the dog price tag. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Lerone Murphy sitting plus 142 on DK Sportsbook versus Aaron Pico minus 170. I think the line is kind of going a little bit towards Lerone Murphy just recently. Pico, I think at one point was like minus 180, minus 200, somewhere around there maybe. But the line's moving a little bit in back to Murphy's favor a little bit. Tiny movement. Yeah, tiny movement. This fight is one of those fights, though, on DraftKings, Dan. 8,200, 8K. You got the mid-tier fight. One guy got the wrestling upside. That's Pico. One guy wants to stay at range, uses movement, kind of point fight, snipe you, uses speed, and stuff like that. So not as good of a DraftKings scorer is Lerone Murphy. I do think from a betting side, I'm going to lean the dog and take Lerone Murphy and just hope he doesn't get wrestle fucked for 2 out of the 3 rounds. And he can just stay at range for 2 of the 3. I do think he is going to get stuck for one of these rounds, probably on the ground. But we'll see if he can keep him there. Lerone Murphy is good. He's good. He's talented. He's super athletic. He's got good, strikes. He's got good speed and movement. And he's beat some good fighters, man, like Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, Barbosa. Those are good fighters. They've got power. You know what I mean? Like Pico, he's got the wrestling. But what?
The unction.
Yeah.
Unction. No, he's beating up old men, dude.
Dan doesn't like Josh Emmett because he's old. Even though Josh Emmett fought an absolute war with Elliott that is dusting the best fighters in the world now.
Well, yeah, man. I mean,
dusting the best fighters in the world. And Dan's
he got the absolute piss beaten out of him by Elliott.
He went 5 rounds with this dude, taking a beating, Dan. These guys, Charles Oliveira, and moving up in weight, and whoever he fights, doesn't matter.
I mean, I feel like
knocking the best guys out.
That Taporia fight really took something out of Josh Emmett. He did come back and dust Bryce Mitchell, but I mean, like, when a guy
Josh Emmett is good, you are just a hater of old people. I'm defending the vets. If you're out there and you're a vet, I am defending you right now. Dan is just shitting all over you. I mean, that's
generally
crazy.
When these guys take such a hellacious beating, it changes them, and they go forward as a diminished version of themselves. That's just facts. We just talked about it with Cannonier, like all the beatings he's taken. I think the same is true for Barbosa. Who else we got? Like Andrade to an extent.
I mean, you can make the case that Cannonier took a disgusting beating last fight and somehow just stayed alive and then found a way to win. Because he's gonna come in like a diminished version of that. Like it takes something out of you every single time. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you build confidence. I mean, Jared Cannonier, he's been through it. He's been there for a while. He's been doing shit for a while, Jared Cannonier. So
I won't count out.
we'll see. All right. You don't have to put as much stock in it as me. I think Lerone Murphy is good. I don't think he's great from a DraftKings scoring perspective, though. So that's why I want to be lighter on him and more on the Pico side for DFS because of the wrestling. And I'm probably going to bet Murphy just at that plus number. I think it's still a good number at plus 140-ish here. So that's my take on this fight. Don't want to have like a super hard stance either way because I can see it going either way. So it's not one of those fights I want to dig in on. Pico's got the wrestling upside. That's good for DraftKings. Murphy's got, I think, the better number to bet right now, plus 140. What do you think, Dan?
I'm on the Pico side here, like for DFS and betting wise. I know it's kind of rich because I did just talk about how I'm not that impressed with Lerone Murphy's resume, but you know, Pico has a pretty weak resume. He's been crushing cans in Bellator. I just think that regardless, Pico is the more dangerous fighter. He's got serious knockout power on the feet. He's aggressive. He's going to pursue takedowns, which Lerone Murphy's wrestling defense has been pretty rough. I think this is going to be, I think Pico is going to kind of roll through him with the wrestling and the grappling here. Yeah. And Lerone Murphy, just like, he's so low volume. He just really doesn't have much output, not much finishing upside here. So I'm going to be really low on Murphy and I'm going to be really high on Pico.
All right. Pick six numbers in here. Pico, Murphy, do you see anything you like? Oh, I wish we had an under on significant strikes for Murphy because I do think he gets stuck on his back for at least a round. Well, do you see anything, Dan?
Yeah, I kind of like I like the 5.5 of control time more for Pico.
Okay, you think he goes more on that? All right, Pico over on or more than 5.5.
Actually, you know what? I actually like the over on fantasy points way more than that. Now that I'm looking,
you like the over on fantasy points more?
Yeah, for Pico,
that'd probably be better. I think
yeah, I think
because I could see him getting like takedowns, and I could see Murphy getting up quick too. But like he could still rack up like 4 or 5 of those. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I would go that way, probably over the control time.
Well, we talk about it all the time, and so this is Pico's debut, and we always talk about how like they like to match guys up tough in their debut. This isn't the original matchup, so that kind of goes out the window. This is Lerone Murphy is a replacement fighter here, so I'm not really applying that same mindset to this matchup. I really like Pico here.
Yeah. So someone asked, did you? Oh, here we go. Okay, Alex Burner said, did you guys pick any unders for pick 6? So 2 of the 3 I think I gave were the significant strike lines. Well, Barbosa was an over. I think Michal was an under for significant strike. That line did move though. It dropped 6 significant strike points. From 36
bet under.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the fight time over for fight time. But I don't think we have one yet on the board here. Yeah, we gotta find an under we like.
Let's find one.
We'll find one here after we go through the final fight here on the card. And
how about
this is a great one right here. Look at this one. Hey, white boy with the cocky surfer snapback hat and cocky voice. Who wins, Elliott Taporia or your mom? Gotta love a little mom joke getting thrown in there every now and then. My mom would bitch slap Elliott, by the way. Absolute bitch slap.
Good Lord. You guys are brutal.
Absolutely brutal.
Cocky voice. I mean, dude, that new intro is brutal. When I heard myself talking at the beginning of that, I was like, do I really fucking sound like that? That's horrible.
No, Dan, I'll tell you right now, it's just the worst hearing yourself talk because every time I hear myself talk, I hate it. I'm like, oh my God, that's how I sound. Like, God, I sound like shit. It's the worst hearing yourself talk. So I try not to like listen to anything I do, like any video I put out or anything. I try to never go back and like watch any clip of it at any point. Just stay away from it.
You got to mute to put on the captions.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst thing to do. All right, main event here. Let's get to it. Final fight on the card. Dricus du Plessis, the champion, 7,300 on DraftKings, sitting about plus 200, plus 225 now on DraftKings Sportsbook. So the line just keeps moving in CHIMAEV's favor here. And I honestly think it's going to keep going that way, Dan. Whether it's right or wrong, people love CHIMAEV. Like the whole crowd wants CHIMAEV. Like I get DDP's the champ. People are going to bet him at this number. And the more they see that number go up, the more they're going to be like, oh man, that's enticing as he gets to like 225. If he gets to like plus 250. But I get it. Like CHIMAEV just, he's a beast. He's an animal. And I struggle to not go all in on CHIMAEV here. I really like him for DFS. I really like him from a betting standpoint. I think he can find a finish on DDP. And everyone's putting out there this like notion that it's just a foregone conclusion that if this fight goes, longer than 2.5 minutes or 2.5 rounds, that CHIMAEV is just going to automatically gas out and it's going to be all DDP. And I don't really get that. I mean, CHIMAEV had his issues with like COVID and being sick and all this type of stuff. He kind of like fought through it. He had that issue with the weight miss and everything like that, where the doctor
was overtraining.
Yeah, like he was overtraining, and he says it too. He's just like a workhorse. He likes to train. He likes to go hard and stuff like that, and he overtrains. It's just what happens with him and stuff. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, and I honestly think in a fight with DDP, it matters less because yes, is DDP someone who when he's tired can still fight and be dangerous? 100%. But DDP gets sloppy early in fights. Go back and watch that Izzy fight. He was tired in the second round. I mean, exhausted. And Izzy was picking him apart for a lot of that fight. All right. And yes, he can just catch you, which is what happened to Izzy. He caught him with one punch. It really hurt him. And then he like caught him 3 or 4 more times, got him to the ground and subbed him. But like he was gassed for a lot of that fight. And that was early in the fight. So if CHIMAEV just puts on a heavy wrestling pace, Dan, and it gets to the second round and this dude's tired from just dealing with his wrestling pressure, I mean, I think CHIMAEV has a really good chance to finish him in that second round. So I really like CHIMAEV here. I even think if it goes past the second round, I'm still not worried. I still like him. And I'm going to be heavy on him here. I'm going to be pushing probably all in on DFS or most of my lineups anyways. And, I bet him. I think he can win inside the distance. I think the line's like, it feels like it's moving a little bit. I might be wrong. It might be minus 150 now. It was like minus 130 at one point. But yeah, I'm going that way. I get the people that want to ride DDP. He's always live. He's never out of a fight. I can't go against CHIMAEV. It's like Hernandez, the dog. Like I couldn't go against him last fight. Topuria, I couldn't go against Topuria. Like some of these guys are just on a different level, and I'm just not going against them. And he's like one of 3 or 4 guys that I just refuse to go against.
Yeah, Hamzat's a different kind of guy, man. I think what it really comes down to for me is that DDP in this like run to the title and his reign of having the title, he just hasn't faced a grappler or wrestler. He hasn't faced a grappler or wrestler, period, in like his last 4 appearances. And certainly he's never faced one of CHIMAEV's caliber. CHIMAEV, I think the longest he's gone into a fight without securing a takedown is 40 seconds. So I'm fully expecting CHIMAEV to just come out just like a fucking bat out of hell, super aggressive, take DDP down immediately. I think he will get the takedown. And then like this is obvious, but it all just depends on like if DDP can get up off his back from there. And I just, what we saw in his previous fights where he's gotten wrestled and grappled, he looks a bit helpless off of his back. And if you don't have a ground game, like CHIMAEV is just going to run through him. That's kind of what I see. I'm also with you that I don't think that CHIMAEV is dead after the first round or two. I mean, we've seen him fight 3 full rounds against Kamaru Usman, against Gilbert Burns, and win both of those fights. I'm going to choose to believe that the cardio has improved. It's something he's been working on. So I'm with you. I'm all in on CHIMAEV here. I'm probably going to be like 80+% on CHIMAEV. DDP on the other side, I guess you can argue that in CHIMAEV's run to this title shot, he hasn't really faced anybody who has the size and physicality of DDP. He's been facing, guys who are former welterweights fighting at 185, or people who are welterweights and they're fighting at a catchweight because of, match reshuffling. So if DDP can keep it on the feet, I think he can keep it competitive. I mean, these are 2 of the best middleweights in the world. So I think if he doesn't get run through immediately, he can obviously be competitive and win. But I'm so heavy on the CHIMAEV side here.
Did you hear someone was asking him, like, like the way you fight, it seems like you just go out there and put it all like in early. And he looked at him and he was like, yeah, I just go in the ring and like, I feel out the fighter. And like when the bell rings, like if I feel like I can just go smash this dude, I'll put it all in and just try and smash this dude. Like he's like, yeah, I just feel it. You know what I mean? Like I just feel it right when the match starts or the fight starts and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, this guy's just such a killer right now. Just absolute killer. I'm not betting against this guy. And he's trying to like, rip your head off when he chokes you out and friggin' like, I can't fade this guy, but I get it. I get the price. I get playing the price with DDP. He is the champion. I will say though, Jeremy, the real DDP is Diamond Dallas Page, baby. Everyone knows who the real DDP is. So shout out to the real DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, or the first, I will say. We love Diamond Dallas Page wrestling on this show. Hell yeah. All right, Dan, that is all 12 fights here. Only 2 hours. Only 2 hours, by the way. Not bad. The under I could see happening actually could be in this fight, Dan. What about under 52.5 significant strikes for Hamza?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, obviously early finish, it's there.
Which one do we want to take out for pick 6?
Let me see. I got to get a little closer to my screen. Sorry, everyone.
All right. You see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Maybe I just make my window bigger. What do we take out? I mean, do we take anything out?
We want to know. We want 1 under. We need 1 under. I feel like
the fishiest over here. Probably. I feel like the Hooper strikes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I could have went. Honestly, I could have went under on Hooper strikes. So I kind of like the under on Hooper strikes. But we'll go under on CHIMAEV here. So this is our pick 6. Dan, if you're cool or you're not cool with any of these, let me know now. We've got Dione Barbosa over 30.5 significant strikes. Michal Olajchuk over 87.5 fantasy points. Sakayv over 101.5 fantasy points. Michael Venom Page over 62.5 fantasy points. The Carlos Prates Jeff Neal fight time over 10.5 minutes, and Hamza CHIMAEV under 52.5 significant strikes over on DraftKings pick 6. Dan, do you like all those, or is there any that you don't like?
Nah, man, that looks solid. Let's roll with it.
Let's roll with it. I love that. We got to give a best bet, Dan, for this card. By the way, pick 6, you got that 30% boost here for pick 6, $25 max entry. You can get your 30% boost on pick 6. Pull that out for a second. Dan, best bet on the card. You have a best bet for the people before we get out of here.
I've got 2. So I really like, we talked about it before. I like Michael Venom Page inside the distance at plus 320 on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to take Drakkar Klose money line. He is now minus 102 on DraftKings.
Bang. Picks are in. They have been submitted. I will tweet that out on my Twitter. If you're not following me, at JSURab on Twitter. and I will post it in the Run Pure Sports Discord for everyone for the pick 6. And I will say before I give my best bet, make sure you guys get over to runpuresports.com. Check out the Run Pure Premium Package, best bang for your buck. It gets you all sports. It gets you contest sims, for Saber Sim, the best optimizer and sims in the business right now going. 500 lineups for Saber Sim and the contest sims, and it gets you all sports. So check out the Run Pure Premium. We do have single sport packages as well. If you just want the football or specific sports, golf, whatever, we got you. And you can also join for a week, a month, the annual. It's up to you. We've got all those packages as well. So check that out over at runpuresports.com and smash the like button. Like I said, let's get over that 20K subscriber count right now. We needed 20 to start this show. Let's hopefully get over that. Smash the like button and ring that bell. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified every time we go live for these shows here. My best bet, I'm going to go with a dog, Dan. I'm going to take a shot on Dione Barbosa, plus 164 money line. I'll take it as a dog. So what was your best bet? Sorry.
I had MVP inside the distance, and I also had Drakkar close money line.
All right. So let's see here. What does that give us? We got MVP. You said money line?
No, MVP inside the distance.
MVP inside the distance. Okay. I like that. Let's put that one in. I want to see what these two bring us here. Michael Venom Page. Plus 320 inside the distance. Dione Barbosa. That brings us to just over 10-1. And then if we add your third bet, which, by the way, on DK Sportsbook, they are offering a 50% boost. UFC, it has to be a 3-way parlay. So if you do add all 3 in, that brings you to 20-1. And if you use that 50%, you can get it up to 30-1. So you get a nice little boost here on your bet here, 20-1, just over 20-1, Dan. And even though I don't like Drakkar close, just for the vibes, I'm going to put this thing in here for show vibes, okay? Just for the show vibes, and hopefully we can get 3 best bets and get it in here. Just put 100 bones on that.
Let's go.
I like
I will
that
follow
bet
you.
too. Let's friggin' do it. All right, that's going to do it here for the show, guys. Like I said, check out Run Pure Sports. Join us. Get in the Discord. If you do, Discord is going to be popping tonight for the fights. Fights start at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, as always. So make sure you guys get in before then. Join us at Run Pure Sports. Smash that like button on your way out. And enjoy the fights tonight. Enjoy your DraftKings betting, your DraftKings DFS, your DraftKings Pick 6. Let's get some winners and hopefully celebrate in the chat at Run Pure Sports later on. For Dan and myself, JSU, good luck in your contest. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, we're out of here. Peace.